LEGO Star Wars UCS sets are extremely popular, and as all of us know, they come in many different shapes and sizes, and especially prices. So today, I'm going to go through and pick what I think is the best LEGO Star Wars UCS set at every price point, from $40 all the way to $850. Now starting off with $40, there was only one UCS set that ever released at this price point, and it was 10026 Special Edition Naboo Starfighter from 2002. This is an extremely rare set. It was only available for about 3 months, from October 1st to December 31st of 2002, so that makes a sealed copy of this set pretty rare and valuable. It goes for northwards of $2,000 actually, and value aside, the set itself is actually very unique too because it has a large number of chrome pieces. Back in the day, LEGO occasionally used chrome pieces in LEGO Star Wars sets, mainly for like lightsaber hilts and things like that, but this was one of the only sets to have actual full-on chromed pieces, like large pieces, and because of that, it's very rare, and those pieces and this set are very rare, and it's also the only UCS set to retail for $40. It's kind of a weird one, and we probably won't really ever see a set like this again. Jumping from $40 to $80, there was also only one set released at this price point, and it was 10174 Imperial ATST from 2006. This is another very unique UCS set, and even for 2006, it's kind of crazy that this thing was only $80. It has over 1,000 pieces, and it's also a pretty large model. If this released today in 2024, it would probably be at least 150, but even for 2006, I'm surprised this thing wasn't at least $100. It's also a great display piece. It's surprisingly pretty detailed for the time period, and like the Naboo Starfighter, we probably won't see a UCS set like this ever again. And then lastly, for the UCS sets under $100, next up we have $90. There was also only one set released at this price point, and it's 10186 General Grievous from 2008. And in my opinion, this set is extremely underrated. I would love for LEGO to make a new buildable General Grievous in the next few years because this set just looks so cool, and I can't even imagine how good it would look if it was actually modernized. Like most UCS sets, it's a great display piece, and it's really cool how there's a bunch of different ways that you can pose as lightsabers, although the only downside about this set is that from what I've heard, it's very fragile, which honestly isn't very surprising because this was 2008, and making a set like this was pretty ambitious for that time period, and they definitely made it look good, although it is very fragile, which is unfortunate. Anyways though, next up we have $100, and there have been 4 UCS sets at this price point, that being 7194 Yoda from 2002, 10175 Vader's TIE Advance from 2006, 10215 Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter from 2010, and 7181 TIE Interceptor from the year 2000. And in my opinion, the best UCS set out of these 4 is without a doubt Vader's TIE Advanced. This set just looks awesome. It is a bit dated, but for 2006, this was a wonderful build. The shaping around the cockpit area is surprisingly very well done and pretty impressive for its time period. It's also one of the few UCS starfighters that has not been remade yet, and I'm really hoping we get this one soon. My prediction is probably 2026 or 2027. Next up, we have a bit of a weird price range. It's sets that fall in the range of $120 to $180. There have been 5 UCS sets that fall in this price range: 10134 Y-Wing Attack Starfighter from 2004, 10129 Rebel Snowspeeder from 2003, 10018 Darth Maul from 2001, 7191 X-Wing Fighter from 2000, and 10225 R2D2 from 2012. And in my opinion, the best set out of these options is 10134 Y-Wing Attack Starfighter. This is another super underrated UCS set in my opinion, and for 2004, this thing is absolutely gorgeous. Now yes, Y-Wings do have a fairly basic design, but the detailing on this is just so impressive for 2004. I also for some reason really like how there's more white than yellow on the cockpit. I know that's not completely accurate, there should be a bit more yellow on the cockpit, but I just like how it looks. And again, the detail is just insane, especially in the back area. For 2004, this was a very impressive set, and in my opinion, it's easily the best UCS set to fall within this price range. Anyways though, next up we have $200, and for the longest time, this was the standard price for May 4th UCS sets, so there are quite a few good sets to choose from this price, and I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of tricky picking which one I thought was the best, because I had options like the UCS A-Wing, the UCS Y-Wing Remake, the UCS TIE Fighter, even the original UCS Tandem 4 from 2001. However, there is one $200 UCS set that does stand above the rest, and it's of course 75060 Slave 1 from 2015. This is considered by many to be one of the best UCS sets, maybe even the best UCS set ever made. That might be kind of a reach, but there are a lot of people that actually think that, and I mean, I don't blame them. This is a super unique set, one of the best we've ever gotten. It's pretty much perfect. I would call this a 10 out of 10 set. It's perfectly minifigure scale, and it's just immensely detailed and a beautiful display piece. And even better, if you've heard the rumors, apparently we are getting a Jango Fett's UCS Slave 1 next year in 2025. Anyways though, next up we have $240, and if you've been keeping up, $240 is now the new standard for May 4th UCS sets. So like I just said, it was $200, and then in 2022 I believe it got raised to $240, and I definitely could have put these two price points in one category, but I wanted to separate the two just because there's been so many good sets from each one, and in my opinion the best UCS set at this price range is 75382 TIE Interceptor from this year 2024. Well, actually I kind of just contradicted myself. This set retails for $230, so I guess this is instead sets that fall within $230 to $240. Anyways, I think this is the best one. Absolutely gorgeous model. It's one of my favorite sets of my collection. My favorite thing about it is probably how it sits on the stand. It's such a good looking display piece. The way its sort of daggered wings are angled upwards gives it such a dominating presence in your collection, and I really like that. Now, it's not perfect. There are some issues I have with the cockpit area, but they're mainly just smaller nitpicks. Really, the set as a whole is very good, and out of the newer $230 to $240 UCS sets, I think this one is the best. Anyways though, next up we have $250, and there have only been two UCS sets released at this price range, that being 10236 Ewok Village from 2013 and 75098 Assault on Hoth from 2016, and obviously the Ewok Village is the better set, and just like the Slave 1, this is considered by many to be one of the best UCS sets ever made. Now, most people do consider this to be a Master Builder Series set, and there actually is a rumor that we're going to be getting a new one next year in October of 2025, and that set will most likely be Master Builder Series and not UCS, but I still consider this to be UCS just because Master Builder Series wasn't a thing when this set originally released, so LEGO released it as a UCS set. It's still categorized as a UCS set on Brickset, so I consider it to be a UCS set, and it's undoubtedly the best one at $250. Anyways though, next up we have another price range that's kind of strange. We're going with $260 to $300. There have been 4 sets released in this price range, that being 10212 Imperial Shuttle from 2010, 10030 Imperial Star Destroyer from 2002, 10143 Death Star 2 from 2005, and 75059 Sandcrawler from 2014. And for me, this was very close between the Sandcrawler and the Imperial Shuttle, but I ended up going with the Imperial Shuttle just because it's a way better display piece, which is what UCS sets are supposed to be. Don't get me wrong, the Sandcrawler is insane, super detailed, crazy interior with a bunch of awesome minifigures, but for what a UCS set is supposed to be, the Imperial Shuttle takes the cake. And I mean, I have to say, this set is insane. If you've seen it on display on its stand with its wings folded open, it's absolutely massive, and just like I was saying with the TIE Interceptor, when you have it on display, its presence in your collection is just crazy. Now, I do think its minifigure lineup could be a bit better. It was released in 2010, and that was kind of the era of just bland minifigures for Star Wars, but other than that very small nitpick, the set is just wonderful and a white whale for many people. Next up we have $400, and so far there have been 3 UCS sets released at this price point, that being 75309 Republic Gunship from 2021, 10221 Super Star Destroyer from 2011, and 10188 Death Star from 2008. And in my opinion, the best one, this might be a bit of a hot take, but I'm going with the Gunship. And yes, I know this set originally released at $350, but then with the price change that I mentioned earlier with the May UCS sets, this set's price got raised to $400, so I decided to include it. And out of these 3, I think it's the best. I would honestly love to pick the Super Star Destroyer, but I have to admit that set is a bit outdated, mainly just because it really is the stereotype of just a big gray triangle. I think that set definitely deserves a remake with more detail, but back to the Gunship is actually very impressive. I'm not the biggest fan of the oversized UCS sets that aren't starfighters, however I have to admit this one really does look incredible. I mean, in terms of shaping and detail and proportion, it's pretty much perfect. The minifigures are a bit of a different story, but in terms of just the build alone, it looks very good. Next up we have $500, and so far there have been 3 sets released in this price range, that being 10179 Ultimate Collector's Millennium Falcon from 2007, 75159 Death Star from 2016, and the recently released 75397 Jabba's Sail Barge from this year 2024. And I honestly would love to pick this as the best $500 UCS set. However, if you watch my review on it, it's not the greatest. There's still a lot that's left to be desired for it because LEGO just didn't do the best job. So because of that, I'm gonna go with the Millennium Falcon. For 2007, this set was pretty insane, and for quite a while it did actually hold the record as the biggest LEGO set ever until the 2009 Taj Mahal in terms of just piece count, and that really says something. I mean, this thing is again pretty impressive for 2007. Now today in 2024, it's definitely very outdated, and also there are some questionable techniques used throughout this build that just make it pretty fragile. The way that the plates all around the top sit on the build build is kind of flimsy, and there's also some other little things here and there. Like I said, it is pretty outdated, but for 2007, this set was crazy, and it's definitely a staple of LEGO Star Wars. Anyways though, next up we have sets within the price range of $600 to $650, that being 75367 Venator class Republic Attack Cruiser from 2023, and 75331 the Razor Crest from 2022. And in my opinion, it's without a doubt the Venator. The Razor Crest, a beautiful set, don't get me wrong, definitely one of the best LEGO has made, but the Venator is just insane, man. I could go on and on and on about this thing, but it's just such a good looking display piece. The detail combined with the size of it is just wild, especially around the bridge area, all the shaping and different little transparent pieces for the lights and all the tiles and studs for detail. It's just a wonderfully well made set, and honestly I think it's probably a top 3 UCS set of all time. Literally the only problem with the build itself is the sticker discoloration problem, but other than that everything is perfect, and it's one of my favorite sets in my collection, probably the best set in my collection to be honest. And again, I think it's one of the best UCS sets LEGO has made. And speaking of best UCS sets of all time, lastly we had the price point of $850. There have only been 2 sets released at this price range, and these are basically the top dogs of LEGO Star Wars, that being 75313 AT-AT from 2021 and 75192 Millennium Falcon from 2017. And in my opinion, the better set of these two is the AT-AT. And honestly, every time I talk about this set, I always say this, but I still just can't believe this thing even exists. Like, showing a LEGO Star Wars fan in 2016 an official LEGO minifigure scale AT-AT would be like trying to show a caveman an iPhone. Nobody ever thought this was gonna happen. And it is massive and extremely detailed, and even has a full fleshed out interior. It is pretty fragile, but I mean, what would you expect with a set of this size? It's just bound to be fragile in some way, but besides that, it's pretty much perfect. It's one of the craziest sets LEGO has ever given us, and in my opinion, it's the best $850 UCS set. Anyways guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Let me know what you think about my list down in the comments below. If you're new, please consider subscribing, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see the link on screen right now.